You ready? You got me running. Shake it, baby. Raise your hands up. Raise them up.
Good evening, and good evening again. Wherever you are in the world, we are saying good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to After Dark. This is the adult relationship show where that's relationships within families, relationship between man and woman, relationship between woman and woman, and man. We explore all things relationship. So I want to welcome you to the show. Tonight's show is going to be incredible. I have to say this. I'm really excited. I've been excited all week, and many people have messaged and had conversations about this topic. And the topic is this: can a man and a woman be best friends, right? Best friends without having a sexual connotation within that relationship. Now, I just want to kind of give a broad overview of what I mean by best friend. A best friend is someone that, one, you confide in. You tell them most things. Two, you spend a lot of time in contact, in conversation, in communication with that person. You may even do shopping trips with that person. You may even go on holiday with that person. I would guess that you certainly go out raving, eating, socializing with that person. And that person could be a real kind of person within your family network. Your children may even call them auntie or uncle. Best friends. So we're not looking at friends. We want to go beyond friends. Because we know that many of us, especially those of us over a certain age group, we have male and female friends. I certainly do. But that's not the kind of friendship we're talking about. We are talking about best friendship. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel. So I do expect tonight to be a bit spicy. I expect there to be a lot of salt and pepper. Oh, yes, I do. I do. I'm expecting now, guys, I want you to be open. I want you to be honest. And I want you to be frank, but also be respectful of other people's opinions. This is about opinions. There's no wrong. There's no right. It's just your opinion on what works for you in your relationship. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel. And first person I'm going to introduce is Karen. Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
And Karen, hi.
Hey, how are you doing, girl? How you doing?
I'm great. Looking forward to tonight's discussion.
Yes,
definitely.
So am I. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Good. So I'm also going to bring in Ruth Carter, the Liberty Coach. Come in, Ruth. We're all coming in.
Hi. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Ruth. Lovely to see you again this evening. Really looking forward to this conversation with you ladies.
It's going to be a good one.
It is indeed. And we've got Faye as well. Faye, is Faye here? Let's bring Faye in.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Faye, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies.
Hi.
Fantastic. And I know that we've got Tony. Hi, Tony, are you here? Let's bring in Tony.
Hi, guys.
Our resident main
Hi, Tony.
Tony's been here from the beginning. So I salute you, sir. Good to see you this evening.
Indeed. Thank you.
Now, I know that we have Herbie to come, and there's also Michelle to come. And Theo. So we have Theo and Herbie as males, and we have... Oh, hi, Theo. How you doing?
Evening.
Good, good, good. So we have 2 more people that will come. I'm not sure if they are in the green room yet. Oh, and there's Cheryl. Oh my God. Hi, Cheryl. How you doing? There's more to come. So we've got quite a broad panel tonight. We do. So, guys, I put the question out from last week to give you time to kind of mull it over. Hi, Cheryl. I can't hear you.
Hi.
Ah, there you go. I can hear you. Lovely,
Hi.
lovely, lovely.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, hi, hi. Great, great, great.
Hi.
Fiona's saying every show is spicy. Yes, every show is spicy. So tonight, guys, we are talking about whether a man and a woman. Now, I'm not putting a caveat around that at the moment, but as the show goes on later tonight, as we go through the show, I'm going to add more elements to the conversation. So where we're starting is male, female, best friends. And as you would have heard me speak to everybody and say what the definition of best friends is. So this is the person that you spend a hell of a lot of time with. This is your bona fide, your brethren, your sisterin. This is somebody that is on your phone, you talk to constantly, you have a good relationship, great rapport with that person. You may even go on a holiday with that person. You certainly go out, go to movies, theatre, wherever. This is your person. Can they have a relationship without crossing the line and having sex? So that is the question so far this evening. So guys, we have married and we have single people here. So and I know that there may be some disagreement in this tonight. So before we even start speaking, we're going to be respectful of each other's opinions, and we are also going to value what everyone says as their opinion, because it's everybody's life and they will live the way in which that suits them. Okay, so without further ado, who would like to come in first? Who would like to? Faye, you've got a lovely smile on your face this evening, not morning, don't know why I said that. So I'm going to bring you in, Faye. I'm going to bring you in.
Okay. Hi, Theo. Hi, Cheryl. Good evening.
Hi.
All there, everybody. Right. I was thinking about this long and hard because I'm in 2 minds. When I was in my 20s, I had a best friend and I would have considered him a best friend. We did all of those things together, shopping, talked on the phone every day. We were inseparable to the point where people actually thought that we were a couple. We slept in the same bed together. Nothing ever happened. That changed when his wife came along. And I didn't really have a problem with that because I thought, well, his wife is his best friend or should be his best friend. And that was the norm for it to be like that. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've got to know his wife very well. And if we were to go back into that kind of scenario, I don't know how well that would sit with her if we were to do all the things that we used to do. Well, particularly not sleeping in the same bed together or things like that. But yeah, I think we would have a different relationship and we would then become into a best friend relationship, into a good friends relationship and not a best friend relationship. So I think it depends on the parameters, on the players as well. But in my experience of trying to be good friends or best friends with men, I found that at some point feelings start to get into it and things change. Either one person has more feelings for another or they want to take the relationship into a different level. So I think it's very difficult as you get older and you have more life experience that you could have a best male friend.
Okay. So do you think that it changes with age?
I think it does. Okay. I absolutely think it does. Okay, because cool. we have different expectations, and we have relationships when we're younger. We're sort of a bit more carefree, and the things that we do when we're younger, when you are younger, I think when you're younger, you're a bit more carefree. So the things that you would do then, as you get into more experience and understand how a male works, how a female works, I think it becomes more difficult as you get older.
Okay. Thank you, Faith. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to bring in, I am going to bring in, we're female heavy tonight at the moment, until Herbie comes in. He'll kind of even it out a little bit. So I'm going to bring in Cheryl. Hello, my darling.
Hello, sweetheart. Hi. I definitely feel that males and females can be best friends. I've had a couple. I suppose because of the nature of the business that I was in or I am in, it's very male heavy. So, I've got a lot of really good musician friends and friends that I call and hang out with, and I've been on holiday with, even shared a room with, not a bed, but a room with. And it's been great. But I do think that when a partner comes into the equation on both sides, it changes things, because you have to step back. Because when your friend gets someone who's potentially a life partner, then you recognize as you get older that person actually kind of steps into your shoes, as it were. I don't think that's the way it should be. But I definitely think that men and women can be best friends without the sex. Otherwise, it kind of pulls us down to animal level, isn't it? And saying that you can't control lust. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it anyway.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to put the same question to you. Do you think it changes as you get older?
Yeah, I do. I do, because I think as you get older, unless both of you are free, as it were, then it is difficult, because other people can get jealous of your friendship, and then it can interfere with their relationship. So I'm very mindful of that. So
Okay.
and respect of that. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Fiona's saying, in business it is possible. Intellectually, it's all about setting clear boundaries. Thank you for that, Fiona. That's a good call. That's a good call, and thank you for that, Cheryl. We're going to come back to you a bit later on. So I'm going to bring in Karen. Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
Hello, hi, fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. I think Faye had half of my experience, where in my late teens to early 20s, I had a male best friend. We went to college together. And then when we finished college, we still spent quite a lot of time together. I mean, I had a boyfriend, he had a girlfriend, and but we would spend like all the other time we weren't with our partners, we would pretty much spend together. And it would be that I'd go to his parents' house, I'd have dinner, and I'd go to his room, we'd watch videos, we'd stay all night. I'd creep home early hours of the morning, and then, sometimes he'll come to mine and the same thing will happen. And as I said, we always had our own partners. He went on, had some children. I eventually got married to somebody else, but I got married. And it's only after my divorce that same friend told me that he always loved me, and that he's always been unhappy in his relationship since then because I was the one. So obviously I feel a little bit, not violated to an extent, but for want of a better word, because I'm innocently like kind of dozing off in this guy's bed. And it is true when I think back, and sometimes I would wake up and kind of catch him watching me and stuff like that. Not in a really creepy way, but maybe now I look back at it, he wanted more. So now I'm older, I've got someone who calls me his best friend. But I think it's more a point of he hasn't got a girlfriend at the moment, and he doesn't tend to have lots of close friends. So I don't really take it like so much to heart. But I don't know if I agree that women and men could be best friends to the extent of, sleeping in beds together anymore and it being all innocent, because from my experience, pretty much every guy who had never told me they liked me and tried to be really, really like in my inner circle ended up telling me at the end of the day that they fancy me.
Right. Okay. So we're opening up this conversation a little bit more. Thank you for your honesty, Karen. Thank you for your honesty in that that you know it may start off as friends, but sometimes one or the other may catch feelings and it may change the
Yeah.
dynamics of the friendship, or they hide it for a very long time, or maybe not have the confidence to say. Okay, so before bringing in the guys, I'm going to bring in Ruth. Come in, Ruth, and let us converse a little bit more.
Good evening. I'm on the side where I don't think that men and women can be best friends. I think the best friend position kind of is for partners, and as hearing the ladies and with their discussions, looking back for myself, I had a best friend, but I had his child. So that's how that ended. You know, we were friends for a long, long time. No sex, no nothing involved, but we were young. And I think one day he just made a move and that was it. I had a massive O, and we were together for about 4 years after that point. So currently I do not have a male best friend. For me, the best friend position, if it's going to be a man, would be more of a partner, someone that I'm going to share. Don't spend endless amounts of time talking, communicating with someone on that level, unless it's to build something. I have associates, I have people in business that I talk to, have no interest. I think those boundaries are very, very clear. But no, they're coming to me. They're coming for relationship. They're not asking me for no friendship at all.
Okay then. Okay, thank you for your honesty. I heard you mentioned you had a big O and you were together for 4
I was like,
years.
what's this big O? What's that?
Come on, we couldn't do that. No, what
I had to think for a second. I'm like, you had a big O.
We're
Gee.
keeping it real tonight, guys. We're keeping
So she
it
couldn't
real.
put him down after that.
No, you couldn't put him down after that.
No.
No. And oh, we had a message here from Sadie, and she's saying, let's not forget it's not friends, it's best friends. And we have to be clear on that. We have to be clear because we know as we are older people that we will have met lots of people through work, through all different types of situations, right? We would have. But today we are talking about, it's not just friends, it is best friends. So that is your go-to person. That is the person that you want to tell your secrets to. You want to, be on the phone to all hours of just chatting rubbish. That's the person. Right. So I'm going to bring in Tony. Tony's smiling. So I'm going to bring in Tony. Come on in, Tony. Give us your opinion, your thoughts.
Good evening, guys. So, I'm actually not in a greatest position to make a huge amount of comment on the situation because I don't think I've ever had that in my life, to be honest. But I've had a week to think about it. I've spoken to a lot of my male friends, and the consensus is yes, it can happen, it can work. I think again it requires a huge amount of maturity, and it really depends on where a person is in their life. And I seem to be singing the same song every week. With relationships, everything is based on where you are in your life, what you've been through, and how mature you are in dealing with certain situations. Yeah, I think I also agree with a lot of my friends who say it's possible. I think it's possible. It's just you've got to be mature enough to understand what it is and how it's going to work, and so does the partner. The issue always, as I think someone else mentioned in the chat, is when you find a partner who you then want to bring in, and you have a best friend who is of the same sex, that you then potentially run into difficulty. I know there are some women or some men who would find that difficult to stomach, having to almost share seniority in that relationship.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we're going to bring in Theo. Let's see what Theo's got to say. I can't hear you. Hold on. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, lovely.
Sorry. I'm like Tony. I've never really been in that situation, but me, I think it's possible, but I think when you're younger, when you get older, I'm not too sure. Because as I'm listening to some of the ladies were talking, they said they had that when they were younger, but as they've gotten older, no. So I'm not too sure. Me, I don't think I could have a best friend as a female. No, I've got female friends who I can talk a lot about and stuff, but hanging out with them on a day-to-day all the time, I'm not too sure.
Thank you for your honesty. Sure. Go.
I think it becomes a bit dangerous grounds after a while, especially as I think it was Karen said she's sleeping in the bed, or was it Ruth? Someone was sleeping in the bed with somebody and all that kind of stuff. It's yeah, you're testing it. You're pushing your temptation there. You're pushing the boundaries.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not for me. I'm not too sure. But maybe I might change by the end of the conversation. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm saying no.
A couple of no's, and we got some yeses, and we got some no's. So this just makes a very interesting conversation. A very, very interesting conversation indeed. Now we do have some comments on the thread. Let me just read them out. There's one here that stands out. Oh, let me go back a little bit, I think. Right, we've got one from Shell. Who would want to be with a man or woman who has a best friend? That's a recipe for disaster. A friend, yes, but best friend is a joke thing that some people getting older but not growing up. Best friend, my backside. That's what Shell Williams has said. I don't think she thinks that men and women can be friends. I don't think she agrees. Right. So, and she also says there is no man on the face of this earth that will be that close to a woman and they're not sleeping together unless he's gay or he sees her as a man. Second thing, best friends are for children. Number 3, putting that much power in a person's hand is stupid. 4, a man chatting every minute on the phone, going shopping and holidays with a so-called best friend as a woman. In 2020, he's a fish. Not a real man. Real men are not into them things. End of. Guys, I'm just going to hand that over to the guys to respond to that. So he's rubbing his face. Theo's rubbing his chin. Who wants to come in and respond?
I'll say something. You know what? I'm gonna agree with Shaw. There's no man. It's as I said, you're pushing boundaries, sleeping. Yeah, it's a lot, man. Yeah. That's something. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Shaw. She's won't be so harsh, but yeah, I'm gonna agree with her. It's okay. Temptation. It's temptation. And if a woman comes into the scene, and how can you find a partner if you're looking for a partner if they're always seeing you with this other female? Because everyone's going to think that you're together. You're always out together in a parties or shopping or doing couple stuff, basically. So it's very hard to, because my cousin's the same age as me. So people used to think we were together when we were younger. And we had to say, no, she's my cousin. So I could imagine as an adult walking up and down with this female and people think, they're going to think, oh, is his best friend? They're not going to think that. And a female seeing you with them or vice versa, a guy seeing a female with another guy walking on the street, he's gonna think they're together, not best friends. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with Shell.
Okay, Tony.
No, I'm still gonna. I think there's a way it can work. I do believe there is a way it can work, and it really all boils down to maturity. You know, I think what you have to bear in mind is if you're looking at it from one side where it's an attractive woman with a guy, then you're gonna automatically think, well, how's this guy not gonna want to have a relationship with that very attractive female? Now, if you turn that around, would you be saying the same thing? Is can a woman be with a very attractive, stunning looking man and not have some kind of feeling towards him? Yeah. I think those two dynamics are very different. I think men's appetite for sex differs to women in terms of what stimulates them, and as a result, it's more difficult for a man to resist a very attractive woman than it is for a woman to resist a very attractive man. And as you started, Yvonne, I'm gonna bring in the LGBT argument, which is two men can be best friends and one could have, or they could both have other boyfriends. And similarly, women can be two best friends, women, and have other relationships who are women, which we haven't really discussed in our show previously. But I think, you know, in this particular environment, there are situations where clearly you can have a best friend and not have a sexual relationship. But in terms of the male-female dynamic, I think it does differ slightly between the male and the female. It can work, I believe.
Okay, I'm just making notes, right? I'm just making notes so I can keep abreast of the conversation, right? So I want to go over to YouTube. On YouTube, we've got Mish is saying sometimes you'd rather preserve the friendship than destroy it with a relationship. And I suppose, is that with the one person or is that with men in general? Kim Samram says best friends is subjective. Yes, we know, but we are giving it this. We've set the precedent of what it is, right? This is what best friends is. So we're not going to be unraveling and going off on a tangent. This is what it is. This is where we are. This is best friends. You spend a great deal of time together. You talk together. You're always together. You do things together as a best friend. And Kim Samram says, yes, Tony, maturity is key. People who wish to carry the archetype of a best friend into adulthood may be disappointed. So my advice is have many good friends. Right. Okay. So there is a difference. Let me just say there is a difference between a best friend and a good friend. But we are talking about best friends. And we're talking about this because I saw an article about it. And that's why we're discussing this today. The article came up and I thought, well, this is a good discussion. And they had lots and lots of things going on in the discussion. But this is why we are having this. And also because I think to myself, why are so many women and men, why are so many people single? Now, I know that there are more women to men. I know that that's a ratio. But still, why is it that you have so many single friends who are female? And then on the flip side, you also have single male friends who are single. And why is that? And they have these friends, and they might call them good friends. They might call them best friends. But the friend is always there. Is this friend, we used to call it, can I say this? Yeah. We used to call it cock blocking. That's what it used to be called. Right? Theo's like, his head like, yeah, That's what it's called. It's cock blocking. So you have this friend, and she may be female or male, actually, but they are always there. So anytime the person who wants to come in to the relation or create a conversation, there's a block. And this is where we're moving in this, because at the end of the day, there are many of us on here, on listening, on the panel, who are single, and we have to address certain things within our behaviors and take responsibility to find out, actually, am I single because of my own behavior, rather than is it, you know, somebody not being attracted or having people come up and talk to you. So I'm pushing that out, yeah, because we're half past. So this is the next part of it. So this is what I wanted to say to you. Also, JJ said this. JJ Jakes is saying, I believe your partner should be your best friend. Okay, we're going to let that, I just want that to go into the atmosphere because we're going to come back to that. Fiona Camp says, I actually agree with Tony for once, LOL, but jealousy then could be an issue if in a relationship. Okay. So guys, right. So going back to this thing. Oh, I'm getting all tied up. Of relationships, having this best friend in there, and you are seeing everything. So I can see the comments coming on to the thread. I can see the comments coming on. Kim Sam Ram is saying, thank God JJ said it. Yeah. And we're gonna go down to that. We're going to talk about that at the top of the hour. We're going to talk about that at the top of the hour, because we're working towards that. So just going back to the conversation that we've been having. And Tony was saying about maturity. What about, and the LGBTQ community, right? We can open that up a little bit, but we're not going to go deep into it, because that in itself is another show. But one of the things I've been talking, and on a Friday, my daughter runs a cooking business, and everybody comes to pick up their food on a Friday. And very often we're out in the garden, and I'm having conversations with men and women who are not connected to the show in any shape or form. And I posed the question about this, and a couple of the men said the only way it could work for them, and they are younger, I'm going to say that, they're younger, is if it's a woman that they are pursuing, the only way that they could have their partner have a best friend that was male is if he was gay. They would not feel comfortable with the person if they were not gay. But then one of them said, actually, no, we don't care if they're gay or not, because LGB means B is bisexual, which means they're open to, and so that because when you have I'm just giving the report. When you have a person who is open to anything, and your best friends, and as women do, we take off our clothes, we're getting ready, and we're not seeing that person as a male, we see that as our friend. So you're getting ready, man and man is looking and thinking, yeah, sizing, eyeing up, doing all kinds of things. So I'm just throwing that out there. So this is from the 30s upwards. So the people that I was talking to were 30 years old and upwards. How do you think about that? What do you think about that, guys? Come in. Whoever wants to come in can come in. Faye, you've got your hand up. Come in.
Can I'd like to go back to the point about being single and having your male best friend. I think that, best friends are supposed to be for you and with you. So if it is that you're single and you're looking for a partner, I think that as your best friend, that person should be in, trying to help you along in that process. So if there is a guy that you do like, I'm not saying that guy has to go up to that guy and say, oh, my friend likes you or whatever. You know, that's kind of what we did when we were younger. But I don't think, I think in that position, you can make it very obvious and very clear to somebody that you're pursuing that this person is my friend. Do you get what I mean? I think you would do it with your female friends, because there are female best friends out there who will also block your progress with a man as well. So I think it depends on the conversation that you're having with your best friend and what those parameters are. And again, I go back to Tony's point about maturity. If that person is, the only way that I feel that they could stop you from progressing into a relationship is if they have feelings for you. And I think if they have feelings for you, then that's the time when they might do the cock blocking. But aside from that, if they're your best friend, then there shouldn't be any reason why you as a single person going out there to find another single person to be in a relationship, they should be blocking that.
Okay.
Can I
Come in.
I don't think that they're blocking it. I don't think that they're blocking it just by being there. That's a block. Just by being there. Because if I was pursuing you and your best friend was a male and you was in a party with him and you're standing next to him, no, but I'm not coming to talk to you.
Okay, I get that point. Simple. Where you as a man would be pursuing a woman. But if I came over to you now and made that very clear. Yeah, if I came over sorry, go on. Go on.
Well, I said, and I had a female best friend standing next to me. You wouldn't come and talk to me.
I would want to know whether.
So you saw me standing next to a woman, and you saw me talking to her, having a laugh and everything. If I'm that interested, you would still come and talk to me. I would ask you if that's your partner. I would be respectful and ask you if that's your partner. If I'm really interested in you, I would do it. I know that some women don't, but that's maybe the boldness in me. But if I'm interested in you and I see you with a partner, I would ask the question, because I know that there are, as Yvonne said, there are lots of single people out here and you don't know who's single from who's not. So the question is, I can ask you respectfully if you are. Okay.
No, I know.
Okay. I know a lot of females wouldn't, because I wouldn't come and speak. I wouldn't come and speak to you. I'd just say, you know what?
But if I went to the toilet and you saw me going to the toilet, would you ask me then? Because then I'm on my own. You wouldn't ask at all. Okay.
No, okay. I'll just leave you, man. No. I'm seeing you with a guy, so I'm thinking, I don't know, it could be some guy coming. I'm starting to talk to you next minute. I feel a tap on my back and my neck, and yeah, I'm not even bothered with
that. Everybody's laughing here.
Would it be better then if the guy came over to you and said, my friend is interested in you, took you aside or whatever? Would that be better?
Yeah, that'd be different. Yeah.
All right.
No, man, that's an open invitation.
That changes the whole dynamics then.
Yeah, that's a whole different game.
I won't have to worry. I won't have to look over my shoulder and be worrying that there's a guy who's trying to get me or whatever. So it's all good, man.
Okay, guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Okay. Okay, so yes, I would like to just come in there with what Faye Faye, you're very bold. I would say that. Very, very bold.
I've been single for a long time and I've had to kind of adapt to some things, and you know, it is what it is. If I like somebody, you know, you have to put yourself out there sometimes, and you know, you might get a bit screw faced from a woman or two, but as I said, there's a way to do something that's respectful, and you don't have to, you know, nobody has to get up in your face. I think I'm not a fighter. I like my face.
I think this kind of boils back down to when we were originally started talking about forming relationships and the methodology by which you go and find that date. And essentially it's about having the confidence in you, in the way you present yourself. So, you know what, if I'm looking at a person consistently, and this is the honest truth. I've been married twice, and both my wives I met at different distances, and it was the consistent eye contact that made me think, actually, I think there's something going on here. So in response to what Faye is saying, if I'm getting regular contact with somebody, eye contact, even if there's a partner next to that person, that eye contact is telling me potentially I'm welcome to have a conversation with you. You know, and it doesn't have to be a you know, have you got a boyfriend straight away? It can be, you know, just go and have a chat and have a joke, tell a joke. You know, a lot of people. I'm one of them guys. I've grown up being what we call the icebreaker. Yeah. So in a bunch of guys, and I don't know if girls have got the same thing. I'm pretty certain girls do. But when a bunch of guys go out on a night out, and we see a bunch of girls, they're on the other side of the floor. One guy gets called the icebreaker. And his job is simple as this: go in and break the ice. And that's my job. I have always been that guy. I've always had that, being comfortable just going in a bunch of women and just starting conversation. Because I'm conversational. I'm like that. I come in with a smile and an approach that is non-threatening, but it's there to engage in conversation. Yeah, and that comes back to, I guess, my lifestyle. I've been a salesman for a long time, and essentially part of my life is about developing rapport. Yeah. If you work in any kind of industry where that is part and parcel of your job, you generally don't tend to have a problem approaching people. Yeah, and if you have that, then if you get those what we call buying signals, yeah. So this is a terminology from the sales world. You know, you might be in a store and you see someone looking at a particular product over and over, and then you get the buying signal. And then you have different techniques that you would use to secure that sale. And that's the same thing with women approaching men, men approaching women. You're going to get certain little things that will give it away that, you know what, there's an interest here. And you go into that. And that's I believe is what Faye is alluding to in terms of, you know what, even if there is a guy, if I see the buying signal, I'm going to go in and make sure I'm not going to ignore that buying signal because I might miss a sale.
You're going to close the deal, Tony. You're going to close the deal.
You got
Okay,
to.
Tony,
You
can
got
I,
to.
Tony, I
That's
hear
why
what you're
I'm a good
saying.
salesman.
Tony, I hear what you're saying, Tony. But she could be doing that, and it could be still be her man. She just wants a little side thing on the side, and just want a little wink, wink, nudge,
She's
nudge.
looking aside, man.
She's looking aside, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna slide up in there. The man sees everything, and it becomes a whole argument.
Yeah, you're right.
Because a lot of the time, that's how a lot of fights happen in clubs. A girl gives a guy the eye. The guy goes in for the kill, thinking it's fair game, and it ends up into a big argument.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation before, so I'm like, I ain't stepping that way.
Yeah.
You can give me as much eyes as you want. That man is still standing there.
Yeah.
And I don't know who this man is, ex-husband, potential friend. I'm not even going to entertain that conversation.
Yeah.
I almost ended up in a fight in Ghana for that way. So, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ladies, what would you say to that? Who wants to come in? Has anyone got... I personally, I'll just... Go on, Karen, go on. I'm not going to give my opinion. Go on, Karen.
I agree with Tony to a certain extent when it comes to a certain way, like the eye contact. And I think that for me personally, all the guys that I'm closest to are guys that I'm not attracted to. I don't think I could actually be close to a guy that I'm attracted to and I'm single. I don't think so. Because I think that familiarity that you start having with someone who's giving you all that attention, it could start to develop feelings. So that's my kind of eye contact buying signal thing going on there. So that's all the guys that are I call them my big bros, because I could kind of go to them for anything and rely on them and stuff, are guys that I'm just not attracted to.
Okay. Ruth, do you want to add anything into that?
Well, just going off on a tangent a little bit, because all the points are valid. But, you know, a thought that was running through my mind is something Tony said about the maturity levels that are required. But then, as we know, as we get older, things change. So I'm wondering, with some of the friends that Tony may have spoken to, I may assume, because I want him to correct me if I'm wrong, that they could be men maybe 50s plus, older, late 50s, and the body tends to change. I'm talking about in aging circumstances. So maybe when people get of a certain age, it's easier to have that best friend and not have any sex because nothing works in the same way. Possibly. Could be. And I'm wondering if that's where that comes from. Because there's some people that will openly say that things don't work. Sorry. They'll say if things work or not, and if they're looking for friendship or companionship, or they want to be your best friend, knowing that they can't provide you with any satisfaction, but they can do everything else. I'm wondering if that's the case with some of the feedback he got. Why the maturity part
that
of it.
kind of work on both ends, because like when you're really, really young and not, well, for me personally, when I was really, really young and not bringing sex into, you know, my thoughts on my relationship so much, then I could have a man who's the best friend. And then when I'm really, really old and I feel secure and his thing ain't working, then I could be his best friend again. But I can't be his best friend when him thing work because I don't want it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that. I could sleep in his bed again when he
But
can't
women
poke me in
go
my
through
back.
their changes as well. Because women go through that period where they go off.
Ruth,
They're feeling a
I'm
little
not
bit
talking that
quiet.
into my life, yeah? I'm not talking that into my life. I'm not talking that into my life, Ruth. So don't do with that
But no,
one.
but it happens.
I don't want to
If
hear
you're
about
a
it, Ruth.
woman
I'm
and
not
you're going through
talking
that stage in life and you're drying, I'm sure you would want a
drying.
best friend.
Drying.
Listen, dry. Even if it's dry, they have oil for that. Oil and butter and ghee. Yeah.
Ghee, you know, ghee.
Don't worry about the drying. The drying. We ain't talking about not drying. He's the one that's gonna have most problem because he can't hoist the sail, innit? He can't hoist the sail.
Hoist the sail.
The sea can always be moist. You understand?
I get you. I hear you. But it's just
So
a
I can
different
be
way,
sleeping
isn't
in the
it?
bed with him again because he can't poke me in my back. You know, so I could feel secure because I good. He might want to take his teeth out and do other things, but that's another
So
thing.
Kim somewhere else said, how did we get onto lubricants?
She went off tangent. Not me.
But
Yes, Shell. That's what I'm saying.
listen, I knew that this conversation would open itself up, yeah. But this is funny. This is funny. But I understand what you are saying. Tony, Ruth put a question to you. So I think she would like, and I would certainly like to hear the answer to Ruth's question.
Please repeat the question for me.
It was just in reference to the maturity part of, you know, like you agree that men and women can be friends, and I know you drew some of your feedback from friends. So I'm wondering if these friends came up with that response because they were a bit older, like late 50s kind of thing.
And they can't
Okay.
hoist.
Listen, there's some men out there that ain't had sex for a very,
Tony,
very long
you
time,
have
you know,
friends that can't hoist.
and it's not COVID.
I don't think that's what he meant. I think he's thinking of people being mature and honest and having trust that you could have a best friend of the opposite sex.
So
But what I was trying to
let me answer
ascertain
your
is,
question,
have
Ruth.
they got that way of thinking because of their age and they're older and maybe other factors don't work so well, so they can opt for the best friend option because they know that they're not going to sleep with them?
So let me answer your question directly, Ruth. Yes, is the answer. They are elder. Most of my friends are 40 plus. Most of my friends are 40 plus. I'm 52, in case you didn't know it.
I know.
So you know, I've got friends of similar age, older and younger, but most are over 40. and therefore, yeah, they're mature guys. Most of them who have said yes to that question are mature. I think if I'd have asked them when they were 28, you'd have got a totally different set of answers.
So Tony, you got friends. You've got a lot of friends that are in their 40s, right?
50.
I'm 44. Been on this platform for so long, yet you have not made one introduction of any of your 40-year-old friends.
Okay, so I know
Not
some of
to
them
me
are watching.
either.
I know some of them are watching because
Hey, some of them.
I've been trying to introduce them, but they're not all as willing to come on the panel as I am. So yeah, gentlemen, the lady up there, young lady Ruth, that beautiful brown-skinned sister, is single. If you want to get a contact, reach out. I can get you the connection.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
Yes, this is what it's about, guys. Remember when we started this. Remember when we started this show. It was about us trying to connect with other single people because we were in the lockdown. We didn't want to go on the dating site, but we wanted to start connecting here. This is a really good way. So those guys who are there, listen, don't be shy. Come on the Facebook, come on the YouTube. Start there. Start conversing on there. You're not seen. You're not seen. So you can just type in a little message and then progress from there. We don't bite. Hello. There are many single women. You heard Faye says she's single as well. Karen says she's single as well. And I am of the single persuasion myself. There you go. Look at that. Look. The world is your oyster. So come on, guys, get brave. Show some boldness. Show your manly ways. Because if you sit back, you're gonna miss the opportunity. Opportunity knocks. Yeah, and it's knocking at your door. What's been said? Tony's cracking up, so I can see some things have been said.
Okay, so
anyway.
I've actually got some of my male friends are messaging me. There's some things I cannot repeat. That's all I can say.
We'll tell them to come on and be bold enough to put it on the thread. We'll be happy to receive them.
Is that because of swear words, Tony?
Are they being naughty?
That would be the least of my problems.
Oh wow!
They're being rude. They're being rude, Ruth. They're being rude.
It's all of the talk about drying and lubricant. So they're being naughty. Lube and all of those things. I want to bring in what.
Well, I'm sorry. I when I hit 40, some wave came. So boy, I don't know. At this point, I could be best friends with any man. At this point in my life, it'll be very difficult. And it goes back to what Karen said. If I don't find them attractive, then probably that might work. But you know, every opportunity is an opportunity in my world at the moment.
There was a message from Shell, and I found it quite funny. She said something about her ex-husband.
Shell's not playing around, man.
Today. Shell is not.
She's not playing.
You really need to get Shell on tonight, man. Because
why is she not on? I don't understand.
Oh, Shell's not playing tonight. Oh my god.
Here, in the group, she said something about. It made me laugh. I wanted to see it. She said something
what
about.
Is this one as a young girl?
There it is. She said. Yeah. She said. I think she was referring to Tony. No, not that one. It's this one. My ex-husband was a salesman. If he was as quick at selling as he is at coming, he would be a rich man. This is why I love Sean. Just real. Right. So, I think that was a response to you saying he was salesman. Shout out answer for you. Right.
Oh.
Too much. Funny.
Yeah, right. So Joanne Scott says you should be able to read both their body language with each other. So I think that goes back to what we were talking, and Theo was saying, if a man is with a woman or a woman's with a man, he's not going to approach because he doesn't know if, and sometimes you can't tell by the body language because they are such good friends, they're in rapport, and if they are in rapport, it can be quite difficult to ascertain whether they're not together. If they are out in a dance, for instance, and you see the woman is dancing with other people, then that might give you an inclination that they're not together in that way. But if they're just out having dinner, what have you not, you're not really going to know whether or not that person, those two people are together. Personally speaking, if I see a man with a woman and they're out together, I'm not going to approach. And that for me is about having respect, not only for myself, but having respect for that friendship, partnership, or wherever it is. I think sometimes, and this is some of the reasons why women don't trust other women, is because some women, you know, and I'm not directing this at Faye at all. I think Faye's very bold, and I understand that she's been single for a long time. But I think when I listen to women talk about how they feel about other women, some of the time, it's because they feel that women don't show any respect when they are with their partners, and another woman will just come say, hi, blah, 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 and try and get in there. So, you know, I know it's about how you do it, but I'd just rather not. I'd just rather not. If you're with a woman, I don't have time for that. If I see you out again and you're by yourself and you talk to me, then I'm going to ask you. So I saw you out with that girl. Is that your lady friend? Who is that person to you? Because I'm not about to be your friend with any benefit at all. You get me? So we've got Michelle and Herbie here. We've got Michelle and Herbie that's joining us this evening. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Good evening.
Evening. So we can hear you. Are you on mute?
Hear me? They can hear.
I can't hear Michelle and Herbie. Anybody else?
Can you?
You can hear them.
I can hear you.
You can't hear me, Yvonne?
I cannot hear them, Mr. Sound Technician. I'll just let you know.
I don't know what's going on there.
Okay, so
Herbie, everyone can hear you except
Yvonne.
except Yvonne.
Yeah. All right. So if you could come out and come back in and see if that.
Herbie, we suggest you come out and come back in.
Thank you.
All right. So
to just go back to what I was saying, Faye, you know, I'm just setting this. I'm not directing that at you because I think you're very, very bold and being very transparent, which is what I've asked for on this show. And so there is always, you know, be who you are. But for me, I probably wouldn't be, not probably, I just wouldn't do that. But you would, and fair play to you.
But as I said, there is a way to do it. So you can go up to them and say, oh, you two make a lovely couple. Right there and then, there's going to be either, oh, we're not a couple, we're best friends, or there's ways to do it. Honestly, there are ways to do it. To get the information. You just have to be good.
Faye, you're brave.
Thanks for the tip, Faye.
I got to salute you, girl.
Can I mention there was a question to
But if you go up to somebody, if you go up to two people and say they
Okay, hold on. Because we've got too many talking at once. Okay, so Faye, finish off and then Ruth come in with what you were saying, because you're saying that there's a question. Finish what you're saying, Faye.
If you go up to them and say that you two you look like a beautiful couple or whatever it is, you've made them feel good. But obviously, if they're best friends, they are going to let you know that they're best friends. They're going to say, "Oh, that's not my partner. That's not my." So right there and then, you've already got a way in. Right. So to me, there's a way of doing that which doesn't disrespect the woman, and you've made the couple feel good. If they're a couple, you've made them feel good for the night, and you've got your answer.
That's a good play, Faye. That's a good. Guys, those of you who are watching, so you know when you're out with your partner, if somebody says to you, "Oh, you two make a nice couple," you know they heard it here first. Faye's coming in with some good advice. Ruth, You said there was something that you wanted to say.
Yes, Ken Robinson put a question to the panel, and what he was asking is what happened or whatever happened to one night stands. That's his question to the panel. Ken, my response is they are over. We got a pandemic going on. Social
They was never a thing.
one night stands is over.
Yes.
One night stands were
But that's
never a
just
thing.
me going forward. They're
It's
done.
not just you, Ruth. It's not just you. It's one night stands. As I said, I'm 52. One night stands have never been a thing unless you're that way inclined. Yeah. You have to be a certain mentality or inclination to be the type of person to entertain what is a one night stand. Because typically a one night stand happens on a first night basis. You meet someone, you get into a sexual frenzy, you can't restrain yourself, you have sex, and then that's it. You move on. You never see that person, or you decide you don't want to see that person again. That's the atypical one night stand, but it never was a thing. In all my life, it's never been a thing. But I know there are players in that field. Yeah, there are players, and that's something that I've been chastised for in this group about mentioning when people have got different mentalities and they're into twerking and they're into playing and they're into certain things. When you get of an age, we don't do them things anymore. But originally, we might have been original one night player, but as we get older, we walk away from those things.
Okay, just to add to what Tony's saying, Ken, because I mean, I'm kind of thinking a bit broader than just somebody that you meet on the one night, because could you have a one night stand with your best friend that something happens in a moment where you do end up having sex, but you never have sex again?
That's a friend with benefits.
Well, the benefit's over. Because
it was still a benefit when it happened.
It happen again. It happen again.
If it happened once,
only happened the one time. There's always a second time.
Can it happen a second time? Yes,
you know,
yes.
I don't know if I agree with that. You know, Karen. I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't think you could be friends again in the same way if you think it's not going to happen again. I don't think you both going to go. Bleh. Somebody's still going to want it to happen again.
Maybe, but I'm not.
Somebody's going to catch.
I'm not thinking about the other person. I'm thinking about me.
Somebody's going to catch feelings, man.
And this is the.
Somebody will catch feelings, don't matter what, because you're best friends. You know each other. There's an emotional connection already. So the minute you've crossed the boundaries, somebody's gonna want it again. So no. Can I respond to Faye and about the approaching?
Yeah.
That is because if you approach somebody, especially a female, especially if there are a couple, the woman's gonna look at the man and say, "Do you know her?" Straight away, do you know her? Because why is she randomly coming up and saying, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple"? So that's going to cause a whole load of. Please don't do that to me.
No, but honestly, it's about me. It's not really. It's about me trying to find somebody. It's not.
I understand what you're doing.
If there are insecurity, but that's an insecurity issue between them two.
Can I ask a question, Faye? If you're with your partner and a random woman that none of you know come up and said, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple," you're not going to ask any questions. You're not going to ask your partner, "Who is this woman?"
No, because I'm secure with my relationship.
You wouldn't want to know who's this woman randomly coming up to you.
As I said, we had a conversation.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Yeah, we had a conversation about jealousy, didn't we? And I said to you that I don't get into the jealousy angle of it. So if somebody come up to me and said, "Oh, you two look like a lovely couple," then I'm taking it for what it is. I'm not thinking beyond that, to be honest.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. You knowing why you're doing that same question, you'll be thinking differently. okay, you're saying no, you wouldn't do that. They wouldn't mean anything to you. But if the guy happened to the guy, he's gonna ask who's that guy. If a guy came up to you and said, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple," you're gonna ask who's that. Your man's gonna ask you, more than likely ask you, who's this man.
But that's okay for him to ask me, and the answer will be, I don't know him from Adam and Eve. Whether what he does with that information is down to him. I'm not going to get involved with what he's thinking or what he's processing. I know the reality of it, and if we can't have a good time from then you know, it's down to him.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, but just saying that causes a lot of tension in a relationship, because someone's going to be like, nah, because people are going to say that doesn't happen. It's very rare someone comes up to somebody and says, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple." I've never heard that happen.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Since this lockdown has happened, and I go for a walk every morning, and the thing is, what I've noticed is people just have a different mindset about lots of different things. So where we used to just walk past each other and not say good morning, now people are saying good morning. You know, things are different, happening in a different kind of way. And I think, again, it goes back to how secure you are in a relationship. And if somebody comes up to me and says we look like a lovely couple, well, if I think we look like a lovely couple, then I'm not going to
say thank you, but maybe questions are, who's that person? Because it's not something that's done on a regular basis. That's what I'm saying. It's not something that's done regularly. It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
It just unnecessary questions. We're like, who's that? You must know them from somewhere. Because it's very rare someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple," and you don't know them. That's all.
So can I bring in Michelle and Herbie, because they are here as a couple. Michelle and Herbie have been married for
34
years, right? So you know, we have a couple here that's had a long-standing relationship. So I just want to put the question to you: how would you feel if somebody that you came up to you randomly and just said, "Oh, you look like a nice..." Well, you are a couple, but how would that have an impact? Would you ask? Would you know that person? Would you know that person?
Well, I think initially it would be a thank you. And we have had people come up to us and say, "You two look really good together," or, you know, "You look, the way you lot dance was really good," or we've had that. And it is, well, thank you. And nothing more said. And sometimes I say, Herbie, do you know that person? He's like, "No." I said, "Well," you know, and we just it is just what it is. It's no big deal. You know, I mean, we've been together since we're 15. Well, I was 15, you know, so it wouldn't bother me.
I mean, I'll only ask the question because sometimes the person, they're going to know us. You know, they come and they say, "Hi," and all that. And I'm thinking like, "So, Michelle, do you know this person?" I'm just like, "No." You know what I mean? But that's it. It's not to think that they're going to be, you know, they're on anything more to say like, "Do we know this person?" You know what I mean? Or do you know her? Him or her. But,
Wonderful. Okay, so Herbie, let me just put it to you: if you know a gentleman come up and you know you and Michelle are just standing, you just reach, and the man come up and he said, "Oh," he just walked past and he's looking at Michelle.
Yeah.
Because we have to set this up right. Because when you're saying, as a woman, when you're saying, "Oh, you look like a nice couple," you ain't looking at the woman, you're looking at the man because you like the man, right? Let's just be honest. So the man's coming up and he's kind of like looking at Michelle. He's looking at you, but he's looking at Michelle, and he's like, "Oh, you look like a lovely couple." Would you think that man was making a play for your wife, or would you just think he's giving you a compliment?
Yeah, because I have that quite a few times, you know. Even like here, if we go on holiday, you go to West Indies, we get it all the time, you know. And well, most of the time, you know, they'll look at you thing and say, "Oh, you're a lucky man," or they say, "Oh, you got a nice wife," or something, you know. I mean, they make some kind of comment looking at Michelle and sort of pass some kind of comment, you know what I mean? You know, but I guess it just, you know, I've just learned to live with it, to tell the truth. Not that bad, is it?
You have a hot wife. Your wife is very hot, you see. That's what's happened. But going back to this question, can men and women be best friends? And I want to open it up now. We're in second hour. I want to open it up and ask, because we touched on it earlier, and I want us to look at when we start getting into other relationships. But before we do that, we spoke about something about one night stands with friends and it not happening again. And Natural Mystic says, if the sex was rubbish, Minar want it again. And I have to agree actually with that. I do agree with that. And that's why I said it might just be one time, because you only get one chance to get it right. And if your brethren, it's not, you're gonna have that conversation. It might be awkward, but you might just say, I don't think it's something that should happen again. We're friends and I don't want to spoil the friendship. That talk that, any one of us, if we're adults and we're telling the truth, somewhere in your life, you've had that conversation with somebody that's, it's not going to happen again. Okay, let's move on from there.
Yeah, but at the same time, Yvonne, with that scenario, you do get sometimes one or the other partner might fail to perform on the first night. So, if you're honest enough and you say, you know what, last
So
night
who was it?
wasn't really me.
Who was it then? Was it a duppy?
It
was a duppy. No.
That wasn't really me. I can come
Tony
better
needs
than
another
that.
go.
I can come better than that.
No.
Listen. It's like if you've been out with a girl, right, and you've been drinking, and your performance doesn't stand up to what it should have been. What's the man gonna say? Oh, he's basically gonna go, I was affected by the booze.
But we're not having that call.
He had one shot, man, and that's it.
That's it. It's over.
You know what I mean? Done.
Are you gonna deny him if you really like the guy? Because he knows he can do better.
Tony's just getting all of his excuses in now.
And you know what? The other thing is, right? I've been in this situation. I've been out with a few girls, and you get in bed, and they just lie there, and you're like, really?
Well, really? This is going to be the conversation.
You're just gonna be like a pumpkin, like literally, just lie there like a pumpkin, and just get drilled. And it's like,
maybe
the
drilling's gonna stop.
So for the man, he's like, well, you know what? That was not good sex for me. But if he really likes the girl, he's gonna go, well, you know what, babe?
Next time, lift your back.
It wasn't great, but we can do better.
Arch your back, lift your leg.
Exactly.
Quint, do something.
Yes, sir.
No second chance. But me, not the second chance. No, you better perform. That's it. You get one chance.
I feel like one shot. You better bring it.
Yeah. So if you've been drinking, you would have known that you've been drinking.
Don't come up for the challenge.
You know that you're not going to be able to perform.
Just leave it for next day.
That's
but the drink is what. No. The drink is sometimes the thing that inspires you to go that far.
Then you say, you know what?
It's a delicate balance, Tony.
How many men have not dated a woman, have not slept with a woman because of drink? And you wake up in the morning, you look at the woman, you're like, rotted. I didn't realize this was what I brought home. Yeah, have you seen the film Boomerang? Where the man sneak out the side of the bed? Yeah.
Yeah, because he was
okay, Marcus.
Okay,
Marcus.
Yeah, no.
Okay, Marcus.
No, we're not doing that. You get one chance and that's it. We don't want to hear
Okay.
One shot.
All right.
Wow, you ladies are tough, man. Ladies are tough, man. Ladies are tough, man. It's tough. It's a lot of pressure, man.
You know what? Let me just say this. It's not that it's a lot of pressure. What it is, it's about you taking responsibility for where you are. And so if you like this person, and this person is your best friend, right? Or whatever, whoever this person is, you have to take responsibility for where you want this thing to go. And you know within yourself that if you have been drinking, Mr. Man is going to be flopsy lopsy. Some men it don't affect them like that, but some don't. It does. So if you know that
Just
you have
keep
that
it to yourself.
you have to say, you know what,
Give
there will
an
be another
excuse.
time. Be another
Nah,
time.
man. Sometimes the drink can affect people.
The drink is what makes you keep going, man.
Exactly.
It's the drink that
It's a
makes you keep
delicate
going
balance, though.
because it's giving you that
Delicate
confidence.
balance, so you have to get it right.
It gives you that confidence. It makes you think like that. Yeah, I'm
Yes,
Superman.
You need
for
just
sure.
enough
It makes you
drink,
feel like
Tell them,
just
Theo.
enough drink for confidence.
It makes you speak with your best friend.
Not too much.
Okay.
yeah.
Drink. Not too
That's
much.
right, Herbie. It makes you sleep with your best friend. That's right. I like that, Herbie. It makes you sleep with your best friend,
There
and it
you
makes your
go.
best friend sleep with you. Yeah,
You need
you
a
drink too
confidence
much,
drink,
and
but not a
and you forget
disabler.
yourself.
Okay.
You need a confidence level, but not a disabler. You need to
But
get
you
it
don't know
right.
it's. But Karen, you don't know it's a disabler.
Do you
Too late. Too
You
late.
don't know.
conversation at the very start of
late.
our talks about giving people the benefit of the doubt? When sometimes you see a person and you go, nah, he's not for me, just because he's wearing the wrong jeans at the wrong time. You sometimes have to give a person a second look.
Give him a second chance,
Give them
man.
a second chance.
You gotta give him a second
Okay,
chance,
Especially
man.
if you like
Okay,
them.
Tony.
You're
Second
always
chance.
saying
Yeah.
this. Always saying this. You're all, second chance. Second
And
chance.
don't
Well, we
forget,
don't
sex
ask
is
for
a
no
two-way
second
thing.
chance, you know. No,
Yeah?
no. Of
Sex is a two-way thing.
course
Yeah?
it is. Of course it is, and that's why.
If the man's not performing, are you doing enough to stimulate him?
But you know
Talk it,
what?
Tony.
Do you know
Talk it,
what?
my brother.
So
Talk
let me
it.
just call a time out here because this is the topic of conversation tonight. We will carry this. The sex will go over to next week. Next week we're going to talk about what do you do when the sex is bad. All right. That's what we will. That will be next week's show, and then from there you might see the bag of tricks might come out. All right. So I want you to tell all your family, friends. This is last week's. This was this week's. Can a guy and a girl be best friends without ever having sex? And this is what we're talking about now. But Natural Mystic says you are here. How men want to perform and then just a dagger and drill you for oil. Then better oil them with or their hand. Absolutely, I agree. Anyway, so we're going back. We're going back to the subject because I know that we've kind of gone off topic a little bit. Yeah, the burden of performance should be a shared experience. Absolutely, it should be a shared experience. However,
Yes,
what I'm saying is, if you are coming to, I'm just saying to myself, it's just me. I'm not saying that anybody have to agree. But if you are coming towards me and we're out and you know within yourself, you know that your record of when you drink, brother man, is flopsy lopsy. Leave it out. Just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Just don't do it, because if you are flopsy lopsy, that is going to lead to disappointment. I'm just keeping it real, because it's better you say, you know what? It's been a great night. I'm going to take you home. We're going to be a gentleman, take you home. We're going to have a nice, I'll take you out again, blah, 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 and do the thing properly. Don't come and give me no half measures.
Half dating.
Because I know that when I'm bringing it, I'm bringing it.
When I'm bringing it, you know, Yvonne. I can't even risk bringing it.
Bringing it.
I'm scared to bring it because it's like,
oh. And let me just add this. Oh, at the end of it, I'm bringing it.
No, one of them big O's, one of the big ones.
Wow, Karen's scaring some man up in
we
there,
want
boy.
the big one that also go.
Oh, you hear what Ruth said? She had an oh moment.
We want the big one that go. That one. We want.
Right.
One.
Sorry.
You want,
I'm not even pretending. I'm keeping this 100. So
I think you guys have been in lockdown too long, man.
Way too long.
Way too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. Till it's redundant.
They're singing the O's, you know.
Redundancy talk you got going on here.
Okay, so going back to let's get back on track with this conversation. because we are actually talking about, can a woman and a man be friends without having sex? Can we be best friends? And I think that the general consensus of what I'm hearing is, well, I'll bring that in at the end of the show. Let's not go there now. But I do want to bring in Michelle and Herbie, because they are married, and so is Theo, and the rest of us are single. So what I'm going to say to you now is, I'm going to create this scenario. So you are best friends. You go out, you do stuff, and as we've heard and we've talked about, things change when the two single people who have been best friends, one meets somebody and brings the new person in. How does that relationship of best friend doing all this stuff together is going to change? And on top of that, that person who is the best friend, who is now being pushed out, may feel away. It might be hurtful to that person because they have been there for this person for so long. Michelle and Herbie, let me ask you something. Herbie, if Michelle said to you, she got a new friend, right? She meets her friend and they chat and chat and chat. Tio's already shaking his head. Right? And she said her and her friend is a male, and they're going out to dinner, and they're going out and they're going to have a great night, blah, blah, blah. What would your response be as her husband?
A new friend, yeah? A new smuddy.
Well, it'd have to be, because you've been married for 30 odd years.
Right.
But let's take that scenario out. It's just a friend. Let's take the fact that you've been married 30 odd years. Just Michelle is your number one girl. She's your girl, and you've been spending time, and then this friend is there. How are you gonna? What would be your reaction?
Sorry, just clarify. Is this a new friend, a new person just come round, or is it just someone, an old friend, or?
This is an old friend. Let's say an old friend. Yeah, an old friend. But they've been in contact all the time, and you are now the man. And this person is like, yeah, Michelle, I'm going to take you out, blah, 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 blah. How is you, as her man, as her partner, how are you going to feel about that? How would you deal with that?
To tell the truth, yeah, it will depend on who this person is, because I'll have to know them. If I don't know them, or if they're not being friends with me, then she ain't going nowhere with no man, for no dinner, no nothing. So it's got to be someone who's a friend of both of us that I know, that I can trust. But if you're somebody who just, say, a work colleague like Michelle know and just see, and I don't really know him too well, then no, he's not taking my wife out anywhere. Because I know that, well, he's got to be wanted probably more than take up my wife out. So, yeah, I won't be happy about that, and
Okay.
I wouldn't expect Michelle to want to go out with him. I wouldn't expect that. If Michelle came and said, "Oh, she wants to go out with this man," I'll be a bit kind of concerned on why we want to go out with this man. So I'll be asking some questions on why.
Okay. Michelle, I'm going to put the same question to you, reverse tone, to Herbie. If Herbie, said, I'm going to take out this woman, how would you feel? What would be your response?
I think it would be exactly the same as Herbie, in as much as I would have to know the person, and also it's like, if it was a regular thing, no, because I would want to know, again, as Herbie said, why are you going out so often with Shaquisha? And I don't understand what's going on. And I would ask Herbie what's going on. I would ask Shaquisha what's going on before anything else happens. Nah, if they get too familiar, and then it opens things up. Nah. If it's every, I don't know, like an odd time, once or twice a year, that would be fine. That would be fine, but not when they're getting too familiar and then she want to come and cook in my house and all them things there. No, 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 no. They come too familiar. No, that wouldn't happen.
Okay, thank you for that. Theo, you are a married man. I'm putting the same question to you. You're in a relationship. You're you know, your wife may have had friends before you were married, and the friend is not so friendly with you, but the friend is like, I want to take your wife. You come to your wife, and your wife is like saying, I want to go out. How would you feel about that?
Well, my wife's good friend was a guy before we got married, but they were school friends, but they weren't best friends. So if he wanted to take her out, no problem. Another guy that maybe he's got an eye on her, nah, it's not gonna happen really, because I know what his intentions are. I'm a guy, so I know exactly what his intentions are. He might be trying to be all friendly and all that, but that's a get her on her own. Why put that situation in a relationship? It just causes you can cause unnecessary damage. Nothing might not happen, but you're opening a door, an unnecessary door. So no. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're exposing yourself.
Yeah, you're leaving something open for something to happen. Because anything can happen on a date. As we said, drink too much alcohol, anything. You don't know what's going on. So nah.
And you know, like you sort of talking about going on like for dinner and of a night and evening, then you want to go for after drinks and all the rest of it. I've got a friend, and Herbie knows my friend, and he wanted us to catch up. We hadn't seen each other for a while, catch up, and we went for lunch. Now I felt that was more of a safer bet than really having a dinner and then going out of an evening. And Hobie was okay. He knows him, and we went. We had our lunch, and I came home, and that was it. You know, and it was genuinely just a catch up, just a catch up.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Michelle. Thank you, Tony. You had your hand up.
Yeah, just wanted to say. I mean, my ex-wife had a friend who was a good friend. Wasn't the best friend, but was a good friend. And I'm going to bring a scenario in, because this is the scenario that I believe often happens with the good friend, best friend scenario. You have a bunch of friends before you meet your wife or your husband, and he has a bunch or she has a bunch of friends. And when you meet, you don't lose all those friends. You have a core group of friends who you go out with. Now, sometimes you get together and both groups of partners get together. But quite often, my group of friends say, we're going out on a thing. And so you go, oh, I'll come along and I'll bring the missus. Yeah. And her friends say, we're going out. And she says, yeah, I'm coming along and I'll bring the husband. Yeah. However, sometimes it's one of them where it's my group of friends are going out. I'm going to go out with my group of friends. And the missus says, don't fancy it tonight, love. So you go. I know you and your friends then. And in amongst that group is one, sometimes, who's a very good friend. Not your best friend, as I said, who's a good friend. And twos, they've been looking upon you, and then they think, oh, she's not in the picture tonight. I'm going to strike while I can. Or the other way round. You know, she's out with the friends then. Oh, the husband says, nah, not tonight, love. But, you know, you go, enjoy yourself. And there's a guy in the group who sees her without the husband. And he thinks, time is right. I can strike tonight. And unfortunately, I've been in that situation. And I know it's one of them where people can take advantage of a good friend situation.
Does anyone want to come in for that?
I've had a few situations not like that, but similar. Because if well, we're quite open in our conversation. So if someone approaches Michelle, or even like a pass or whatever, yeah, Michelle always comes and tells me. And the same, I would, if I go out there and a girl's kind of coming on or kind of going a bit, you know what I mean? I'll say, Michelle, so and so and so, you know. So we don't hide nothing. So I just keep my eye out open, so I know that, you know what I mean. If Because Michelle will say who it is and what they said and everything else. So next time I see the guy or whatever, I kind of watch him, you know what I mean. And sometimes the way I'm watching him, he kind of know that I know what he said, because sometimes I can see his face. I'm looking at him, and he's thinking like, "Shit, I think his wife probably told him something." Yeah, and then I normally that normally just quiets the whole thing down, and he just kind of backs right off. But I think sometimes when the husband or the wife don't say nothing or hold it, yeah, then the guy sort of like, you know what I mean, you know, because some guys are predators. They just go and then they don't care if you're married or what. They'll be on, you know, on your wife or on your husband if it's a woman. And sometimes they just go and they try to, you know, sneakily try to, you know what I mean, talk to your wife, whisper to your wife, you know what I mean, catch them by themselves and say this or that, you know. But I've had a fair share of that over the years. I tell you.
Yes.
Sure,
Thank you for your honesty. We've got
And
Shell
if
says
Herbie, you
Herbie's
got
a
hard
wise
work,
man.
bro.
Won't trust
You
Shall
got
after
your
dark.
work cut out.
Yeah, man.
Well, I think.
but I
Go
was
on,
also
Shell.
going to add, at the end of the day, if I go out with my friends and somebody approaches me, I hold my own, and I'll say, no, what you think you're doing, or because I know myself. Do you know what I mean? That to do whatever it is just out of character. It's not something that I would do. It's not something that I'm interested in. Simmermania, I said, no, no, no. I would definitely know who I am. And I think it's about knowing who you are as a person and my values and my morals and my trust that I have in myself and also in Herbie. I wouldn't entertain that kind of thing at all, because then they'll take liberties with you and want to chat to you any and anyhow and carry on any and anyhow. So no, I'll put them in their place. No, you need to step back. Stop your nonsense. I would talk to them. No, I'm not opening myself up for that at all. And they will know their place.
Thank you for that, Michelle. I think it's very, very, very interesting that we're having this conversation. I think that communication is key here, and I think it's something that both Michelle and Herbie and Theo have highlighted here, that communication has to be paramount in this situation. And the reason why I brought this up is because we are changing, or we are going into different relationships, and we know what we want as people. And I think that we have to be at a place now where, we may have there's some of us who have been single for a long time, and we do have a male best friend. I had a conversation, just to throw it out, I had a conversation over the weekend, and the young lady that I was speaking to is married and has a male best friend. And she said, yeah, he was round last night, blah blah blah. And her husband was there, she was there, and the best friend was there. And I said, well, how does that work? And how does that work for your husband? How does your husband feel? She said that she feels that her husband looks at him and thinks, she ain't gonna go there anyway. The guy's not what she would want anyway. And she said she's not attracted, but the guy has value. And she said to think about, there are things you have to think about. And she said, well, maybe if her and her husband didn't work and the time was right, because it is her best friend, it is somebody that she confides in. Another as to why she's not attracted to him, but actually he's got a lot of qualities that she likes as a person. Right, that's one thing. Then on the flip side of this, on the weekend, I spoke to a male. And he was telling me that he has a female best friend. And this female has been there for him when no other female has been there for him. And so, yeah, you can have female best friends. So my question to him is that, why isn't she your partner? Because he was like, yeah, she's this, she's that. I go to her and I do this and I speak to her. No, we do all these kind of things. And I said, why isn't she your partner? And he said, because he wants somebody to kind of push him in, you know, be kind of firm with him, and she's not. But my thing was, because she's not your girlfriend, she's your friend. So it's not her job to do that. Right? So consider the fact, and the reason why I say that is because in most case scenarios, when I hear married people talk, they say, oh, my partner's my best friend. Oh, she's my best friend. He's my best friend. So I'm saying that if, and also we have Lorraine, who's normally on the show, who has said that her attraction to men is the fact that they can be friends first. And sometimes in that's where the sexual chemistry comes from. It's in the conversation. It's not about how the person looks. So I just want to throw that out to you, because I'm saying, if you have a best friend and you're saying that that person is your best friend, then why isn't that person your partner? That's my question, my thing. So there, guys, who wants to come in can come in. We're in the last half hour.
Partner, because I don't fancy them. I just don't fancy them that way. I want the best for them over there. I don't want the best for them over here, you know? So that's why I'm not with the best friends. Or I love to see them, like if they were single, get into a relationship with somebody else and give me the spotlight. Yeah, that's it. That's why I'm not with them.
Okay, anyone else? Fiona Camp says, now I married my friend, now ex, LOL. Oh dear. Who else? Who else has got something to say to that comment?
I would say the same as Karen. I mean, my best friend at the time, I didn't fancy him. There was nothing that I could do, and I probably would have strangled him or killed him, maybe, because there was, you know, there are some things you tolerate as a friend that you would, yeah, as a friend, and you wouldn't tolerate as a partner. There are lines, and as a partner, I don't think me and him would get on together as a partner. But we knew our boundaries, we knew where our safe space was with each other, and we could be very good best friends. And I didn't fancy him as well. So.
Anyone else? No? I think, and I have had friends who have liked me very often, but I think that we, me, may have missed an opportunity. I'm just saying. Because quite clearly, you know, there's too much for me. I'm just saying. Are we putting too much emphasis on sexual chemistry here? Because surely it's about relationship. It's about how the person treats you, how they interact with you. And they may not be the best looking person or physically attractive, but they may have been the best people for you because they actually knew you and were able to help you to thrive because they love you for who you are and you love them for who they are, not for what they look like. I'm just saying. And I'm including myself in this because if we go from the caveat of Michelle and Herbie, who have been friends, best friends, relationships, Theo and his wife, best friends, and they're making their relationships work because it's not about what you look like, but it's actually about how you treat me and how you honor me as a person because you care about me first and foremost as the best friend. I'm just saying, I can hear a lot of background noise. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Guys, you can come in and you can say, you can speak, you can disagree.
I'm hearing the ladies speak, and I remember a few weeks ago we was talking about what women want. They said they want nice personality and all that. It's not about the looks. It's not that this. It's not, and now it's like, oh, I'm not attracted to them. I'm thinking, but before it was they need a personality, need to have their career goals right and stuff like that. So it sounds like it's sending out
No, but
mixed
when I
messages
said
now.
I'm not attracted to them, I mean the whole package. And I'm not talking about just their looks. You know, it's everything else. I'm not attracted. There's no connection there.
So they're not your best friend then? They're not your best friend.
I would agree.
They're not your friend.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because this is what we're trying to ascertain then. They're not your friends.
But there's something about them that makes them not somebody I want to go out with. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is. The point is, I'm not attracted to them, and it's not just a physical thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not just a physical thing. I'm not really into a physical attraction to a man, you know, in that way. My attraction is more rounded than that. It's not just their looks at all.
Okay.
Just to say, my best friend, he is a person who gets very obsessed with particular subjects, and he used to go on and on and on. I could never fancy someone like that because he would drive me nuts. So it was just that small thing that would not drive me to be attracted to him. He just didn't have a off switch. He would just go on and on and on and on. I can deal with that as a friend because, you know, your friends, you have friends that go on and on and on, and you're your friend, you can switch them off. But as a partner, I wouldn't be able to. No. Switching him off, I wouldn't want to switch him off. I wouldn't want to change his personality. So when I'm looking at to change somebody's personality or change the way they are, then I can't fancy that person. So going back to what Theo said about the physical attraction, no, it's not a physical attraction for me, because I was one of the people that said it wasn't a physical thing. And I remember that conversation. It's a whole package of things. And it just could be just that one little thing that would drive you not to want to have that relationship.
Can I say though that with people, everybody's got their little bits, and people, you know, can't take this, them are too loud, and them are, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes in relationships you have to kind of, I would say, kind of put up with it, or sometimes it's just nothing. You just get used to it. It's like anything else. Sometimes you might say, well, I can't take the way this man so and so, but you get used to it. I think, you know what I mean, if you like the guy or whatever, sometimes those things, or woman, sometimes it's nothing. You don't even notice it. You know what I mean? You don't even notice it. But sometimes you see it and we use it like an excuse. You know what I mean? Because the man keep on scratching his nose. I don't like a man keep scratching his nose. But just, you know what I mean? It's look at everything else. Because sometimes, you know.
I was gonna say a similar thing, Herbie. You know, a lot of the time, you know, we seem to be talking about the perfect man or the perfect woman. It just don't exist. It just don't exist. There's always going to be something, and you have to kind of look. We're not going to end up in the world with the perfect person. I mean, it just doesn't happen. What we end up with is the best person closest to that which we're looking for, and then we end up living in a world of what I say is the most important thing within marriage is tolerance, because you have to be tolerant. You're going to have arguments, you're going to have disagreement, you're going to have difference of opinion, you know, you're going to have different political stances, you're going to have different religious stances, and you have to have tolerance. So forget all that, you know, like, oh, he got to be that, he's got to be this. Listen, if you like the person, take a gamble. Go have a look. If he wasn't good on the first night, maybe give him a second try. If the second try good enough, then you can
No, Tony. You're going on too much. You want second chance, Tony. You want too much second chance, Tony. No, you keep going on and on. You're worrying me, Tony. Now you're worrying me.
Tolerance.
You can't tolerate.
No, but on that point, though,
I'm not asking people to be like stupidity, you know, as we say in Guyana, stupidity, and just follow fashion and follow man because him have big hood and in Thailand have muscle. No, don't be stupidity. Yeah, but
But
sometimes
the hood
give a
might
man
not
a
last too
chance.
long, you know.
Mm.
We
You know?
talk about the dead wood. We talk about the dead wood hood already. We talk about the deadness, the dead up hood,
No
especially
worry about them things there.
50s and
Just
60s.
Well,
listen.
it sounds like
Some
you're
of the
worried,
women in
Tony.
here have not had a man for umpteen years because you know what? You're too stush. Una now look for the for man for
No,
just say, listen, let me give you a
pull
little
him up, come out
chance.
That's
now.
not true. I am not too stush. No, no. Please do not
That's the
generalize.
captain.
I am the least stush person that you can meet in this world. Don't generalize some people.
You
I
are
get
right.
called stush so much times I might
It's
as well
funny.
put the label. If I stush, I stush. That's how it go.
Yeah, but you
Listen,
know what? It's
guys.
funny
I
because
think if your best friend is a guy and for some reason after all that time with him it's not transitioning over to a possible, then I don't think it's necessarily anything you could really pinpoint. It's just that that person is just not for you as a lover because they've been with you all the time. You're with them all the time, but somehow it's not transitioning into anything else. Then there you go. That's just telling you straight there. There's something not right. I'm not saying, oh my God, he's only 5'3" and that's why I don't want to go with him. Or, that's not what it is. It's a whole familiarity, which is now breeding contempt. Don't want to be with him. If I wanted to be with him, then yeah, it wouldn't be a problem. But obviously, there's some issue there, which is why the best friend has to remain the best friend and not become the lover. That's all it is.
You've put him in the friend zone, that's why. So you're not looking at him physically that way.
It's not that you've put him.
You put him in the
It's
friend
not.
zone, so you
It's not
can't be
putting somebody
physically
in the
attracted.
friend zone
You
because
put
I've
him in
put
the
people in the friend zone. I have put people in the friend zone before, got to know them and liked them. So this is what I'm saying. I'm just talking about this particular best friend who we haven't been able to for the relationship to transition into anything more. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not about necessarily being picky, but there's something in there which just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so guys, this conversation is quite interesting because as Theo brought up the conversations that we've had in previous weeks, and I have to say, I am going to say this, that it is quite. I think some of the things that the women have said, if my memory serves me correctly, and I do have data here. I would have to look it up, but my memory serves me correctly. There is some real conflicting things that have been said today, and in terms of what we want as women, and this is why I'm saying, and I just want you to leave it and let it land with you and sit with you for a while. Could it be that you've missed perfect opportunities to be with somebody that would actually love you in the way in which you want to be loved and the way in which you deserve to be loved? Because we have dismissed, let me include myself, we have dismissed a friend, and not really seeing the full potential because, we're not feeling anything. We're not feeling anything. But sometimes you have to go beyond that. Sometimes you've got to look. If your parents tell you to go look for something, they'll give you a brief synopsis of where it could be. Go upstairs, look in the room, this, that, and the other, and then you're looking and you can't find it. But they say, but if you look good, you will find what I'm telling you is there. And I know that's kind of a loose kind of example to use, but I'm just saying, don't dismiss the thought, because we are here clearly saying we want somebody that's our best friend. We want somebody that is intellectually savvy. We want all of these things, and it's not necessarily about the looks. We're talking about the energy. We're talking about the connection. But could it be that you were the person, or I was the person that put the block in the way so that there was no connection? Because it's easy to, as somebody that studies NLP, I'm just saying, it's easy to create rapport with anybody. And if that person is the person that you're talking to, you're having a laugh with, and you're going out with, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, I'm talking about generally, right? And the person has brought themselves to you and all of these things, and then you're still saying, this is not the person. I'm then asking, what is it exactly that you are looking for? And it's only based on what we've talked about all these weeks. We are 17, 18 weeks in now, and a lot of conversation has gone on. It really has. And so to think back to what you have said, think back to your actions, think back to your words, think back to your own behavior over the past, you know, and think back, could I have behaved or handled the situation differently? Could I have been with that person? Because that person really had your best interests at heart. And surely, this is what we want, isn't it?
So
Isn't
now
it?
this conversation is getting a bit muddled now, because it's like, you know, we're saying basically that if you have a best friend of an opposite sex, you should almost be looking at them as a possible, which then would be the argument of a man and a woman can't be best friends. They can't just be friends. They have to think about, at some point, they have to start looking to see if they're missing out on something, which
I'm
means
saying, no.
best friend.
You're misreading what I'm saying. I'm saying to look back. I'm not saying where we are now as best friends, because most of us don't have male best friends. Most of us here right now don't have a male person who's a best friend. We may have had the situation, but that situation isn't now. It isn't now. But what
So
I'm
we're
saying,
talking about a friend, a male friend.
yes, what I'm saying is, because best friends is best friend. And personally speaking, what's the time? Personally speaking, we've got 10 minutes. Personally speaking, I do not think that a male, for me personally, I couldn't have a male best friend. He would be my husband. Done.
Can I say one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had in the past couples, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who they didn't even notice each other, yeah, and the comments was sometimes that it wasn't my type, didn't was attracted to him, didn't it was so and so and so, and I'm thinking, all right, but something they just start to, they were kind of friends, you know what I mean, and kind of got on, and by the time they knew, they kind of got into relationship and marriage. But initially, it's like, no, that not my kind of guy. No, and either I'm too ugly, or either I'm this, or that. Wasn't what I was looking for. But something happened, and somehow they got, what I mean, it all transformed, and yep, it's like, yeah, we were meant. They were meant to each other. You know what I mean?
I
But I
just
think,
think if it's to happen, it will happen. I don't think anyone, not many people will put up such a barrier against someone who they really are feeling, that they're getting that feeling back from that other person, because as somebody said, it's a two-way street. So it's not only about whether if I'm attracted to him and he's my friend, it's also about if he's giving me certain signals as well, because I might not want to put myself out there like that and possibly lose a friend. So it's like a two-way street. I don't have any guy friends who are single and are interested in me at the same time.
and the thing is as well, because of because I know
So
many
there's
women.
another one, all the
Yeah.
single lady, all the single guys, all
What's
the
that?
single guys out there.
Huh?
You let me go in the market now, Tony. Thanks.
Yeah, there are, because again, it depends. I don't know you, Karen, but it depends on the sort of person you are. Because sometimes guys' friends may like you, but they don't want to. They don't want to kind of approach you. They don't want to say, because you may be of a certain kind of, you may have said what you want, and they may be thinking,
That they
I'm
can't
not
beat
what
that.
she wants, so I'm not going to even try. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to say anything, because they might feel embarrassed or feel like, if I approach her, she might just yeah. So you have to kind of, yeah, I don't know.
I'm changing my approach.
Right. Okay, guys.
I'm reading the 48 Laws of Power, so I'm gonna have to keep it a little bit more, be more like a stealth bomber now.
Fantastic. Right, guys, we've got 8 minutes left
Sphinx
of the
like.
show. 8 minutes left. So, guys, I just want you to just give me like a second of what you got from this evening. Are you for it? Best friends being your partners? Or do you think men and women can be best friends or not? Give me your synopsis very quickly because we've got like 6 minutes.
So
left.
I need to do mine really quickly because I'm literally down to 1% battery. So you're going to see my screen disappear. But thank you all, everybody who's been on the panel. Thanks for all the comments in the chat, guys. Yeah, my view hasn't changed from the start. I still believe that it can work, that men and women can be friends, best friends even, but with caveats. And it all is to do with trust and communication.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks,
Thank you
Tony.
very much.
Bye.
All
Bye,
right,
Tony.
you're going to stay with us until you drop out. Faye, come in.
I'm about to drop out any second
All
now.
right, we'll see you next week. Thank you for being
Take
here,
care
Tony.
now.
Blessings,
Thank
Tony.
you.
Blessings, my brother.
Okay, Faye.
I think it depends on the age of you and, as Tony said, the maturity of you. I personally, at this point in my life, don't need a male best friend. I think I don't think that would work for me at this moment in time.
That, yes. Yes. Okay, so Karen, what say you?
Yeah, I'm not going to do this male best friend, no intentions kind of thing. I think it's going to be a male best friend with intentions to see where it's going to go. Because, somebody's going to get too mixed up in there somewhere.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your honesty. Michelle and Herbie, what would you say? Advice?
Well, I don't need no woman best friend, to tell the truth.
Lucky you got one already.
I've got a lot of friends, you know what I mean, school friends, girlfriends, you know what I mean, that is just on that sort of level, you know what I mean. I don't need nothing more, to tell the truth. I wouldn't want to share any secrets or anything more than what I'm sharing to my wife with anybody else, you know what I mean. So they put it this way, I won't see any benefit in it. So no.
That's an extra point as well, you know. When you have a best friend of the opposite sex and then you go to them for advice on a relationship with somebody else, you start to take what they're saying as gospel because you think, oh, that's man, they know what they're talking about. And then it starts to make things get a bit messy because he's telling me things about my man that ain't, my man ain't no good, my man is this, my man is that. And then I'm like, hold on a minute, 2 against you, 1 now. And it just, things are just complicated and too messy. So yeah, that's another point.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Tony's still watching on his phone. Okay, Michelle, do you want to come in quickly? You got
No, I don't need no friend, best friends like that. Herbie's my best friend. We do this thing in one of the parenting courses that we deliver, and we talk about who would you have in your network. And I struggle to actually think about who else will I have in my network except for my hubby Herbie. Do you know what I mean? So outside of that, he's all I need.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Oh, this is the thing to strive towards. Theo, come in. Give us your thoughts.
I've got female friends, but best friend, nah, it's not gonna happen. I don't believe men and women can be best friends. I said it from the start. It's not gonna. To me, there's gonna be some sort of feeling, some sort of attraction. Something's gonna go on. And as you said, your best friend is someone you can, get changed in front of them and stuff like that. Have a certain conversation.
No.
And it's a man and a woman. Someone's gonna catch feelings, man. So no, I don't think they can happen.
Right. Thank you for that. I think I'm going to just read one more comment from the thread. There's one from Nelsa, and she is saying that myself and my partner were friends for 5 years. When I began to see life differently, I began to see him for the beautiful person that I can now see myself marrying. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, a really beautiful thing to end the show. I believe if you have a best friend, when you get into a relationship, your partner takes that role. And
That's
I thank you. I think that's a lovely way to end the show on. My sentiments is this. This is how I feel. I think that men and women can be friends. I don't believe that it's healthy to have a male. If when you're both single, you can have a male friend, and if you're best friends, I think that one or the other will catch feelings. And in my experience, I've had that in my own life. But I think once you start to move on and progress in relationships, unless there's respect, there's trust and openness, and also acceptance of who the person is, it's never going to work in a relationship anyway. My advice, guys, tonight is this, especially for those who are single, is that you should really be looking for the person who can become your best friend. You should really be looking for the one who's looking out for you. And this surface thing, you know, like your body good and all, that don't work. And when you get to a certain age, that just becomes bullshit. That's what it comes. I'm going to call it what it is. What we want is something more of substance. What we want is somebody that's going to impact our life, that will grow with us, will keep us when we're sick and not feeling well, that person is going to be there. You're going to be there for that person, and you're going to grow and thrive together. And unless we're prepared to do that, and the person may not look like what you thought. As a matter of fact, the person might not even be the colour that you thought. I'm just going to say it. The person could be completely different to what you have in your mind. But it's about how that person treats you. And if they can treat you to the value set that you have for yourself, then I would say give that person a chance. Give them a chance. And this is me that not give nobody a chance. I'm telling you the truth. I'm very, very funny. It's not anybody I give a chance, especially as a partner. But what I'm learning from these shows is about openness and being acceptant of people, of who and how they are. So no one is perfect. I'm not even perfect. Even though, you know, I'm practically perfect in every way. That's what I say, right? But I'm not perfect. So how is it the other person's going to be perfect? So when the person meets me, there's things that I do that's going to irritate. There's things that he does that's going to irritate. But it's about us accepting each other for who we are and moving in the same direction together. So if you have a best friend, if I had a best friend as a man, trust me, he will be my husband. Yeah, and I now move from it, become my leg wrapped around him tight. I'm not letting go. And I'm just telling you keeping it as real as I can. This is how it is. I'm not sharing my best friend, my husband, with no other woman. Sorry, you can't. If you're my husband, you ain't got no best friend. I'm your best friend. Hello. Anyway.
Oh.
So this is it, guys. We've run out of time. This has been After Dark. So next week we're going to talk about how important is good sex to a relationship. How important is good sex? We're going there, and who knows? What make? Listen, I've got a goodie bag, yeah. Oh, the goodie bag might come out. Oh, it might come out. So do remember, next week between the hours of 10 and midnight for After Dark. For those of you who are here tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock sharp, it's Morning Inspiration right here on Facebook and YouTube. And on Thursday, don't forget, we've got Let's Cook with Linda Wissart, the Inspired Diabetic. If you want to know how to eat healthy and how to live well, be on the show. It's at 4 p.m. Facebook and YouTube, and that's Let's Cook. So it's all happening here. Do remember, support, share, like, and subscribe. Support as we move forward. And I just want to say thank you to all the panel members. You've been absolutely incredible this week. Michelle and Herbie, thank you for joining us. Theo, Ruth, Cheryl, Tony, Faye, and beautiful Karen, thank you so much. I will see you again next week, where we are talking is good sex. It's all about good sex. Is that what keeps a relationship going? Oh, who wants to be on panel next week? I'm telling you, who wants to be there? But guys, stay safe, be well. Much love. Ciao for now.
Bye.
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 got me running, got me running.